Good day, students. Today we study the miracles of Jesus, the extraordinary works he performed that demonstrated his divine power and authority. The Gospels record over 30 specific miracles performed by Jesus. These miracles fall into four main categories: healing miracles, nature miracles, exorcisms, casting out demons, and resurrection miracles. Each category reveals a different dimension of who Jesus is. John chapter 20, verse 31 tells us why John recorded miracles. These are written that you may believe that Jesus is the Messiah, the Son of God, and that by believing you may have life in his name. By the end of this lesson, you will be able to define a miracle and explain its purpose, categorize Jesus' miracles, recount 3 specific miracles in detail, and explain what each miracle reveals about Jesus. A miracle is an extraordinary event that goes beyond the normal order of nature and is caused directly by the power of God. Miracles in the Bible always have a purpose. They are not entertainment or magic shows. The purposes of Jesus' miracles: first, to reveal who Jesus is, the Son of God with authority over creation, disease, demons, and death. Second, to demonstrate the arrival of the kingdom of God. Isaiah had prophesied that when the Messiah came, the blind would see and the deaf would hear. Third, to meet human need. Jesus was moved by genuine compassion for suffering people. Fourth, to call people to faith. The miracle of the 10 lepers is recorded in Luke chapter 17. Leprosy in the ancient world was not only a physical disease but a social death sentence. Lepers were required by law to live apart from the community, wear torn clothes, leave their hair loose, and cry out, "Unclean! Unclean!" when anyone came near. They were completely cut off from family, synagogue, work, and normal life. As Jesus entered the village, 10 lepers stood at a distance and called out, "Jesus, Master, have pity on us." Jesus said to them, "Go, show yourselves to the priest." Under Jewish law, only a priest could declare a leper clean. It was the official process of reinstatement into society. The 10 lepers went, trusting Jesus' word. And as they went, they were cleansed. Now, one of them, when he saw that he was healed, turned back. He praised God in a loud voice and threw himself at Jesus' feet, thanking him. And this man was a Samaritan, a foreigner, an outsider. Jesus said, "Were not all 10 cleansed? Where are the other 9? Has no one returned to give praise to God except this foreigner?" Then he said to the man, "Rise and go, your faith has made you well." The lesson: all 10 were healed in the body, but only one returned in faith and was declared well by Jesus. Gratitude to God is not automatic, it must be chosen. And often, those the world considers outsiders are the ones who recognize God's grace most clearly. The miracle of calming the storm is found in Mark chapter 4. One evening, Jesus and his disciples set out across the Sea of Galilee by boat. Jesus fell asleep on a cushion in the stern. A furious storm arose, waves broke over the boat so that it was nearly swamped. The disciples, many of whom were experienced fishermen, were terrified. They woke Jesus and cried, "Teacher, don't you care if we drown?" Jesus got up and rebuked the wind. He said to the waves, "Quiet. Be still." The wind died down. There was a great calm. Then Jesus said to his disciples, "Why are you so afraid? Do you still have no faith?" The disciples were filled with awe. They said to each other, "Who is this? Even the wind and the waves obey him." The raising of Lazarus, found in John chapter 11, is the greatest individual miracle recorded in the Gospels before the resurrection of Jesus himself. Lazarus was a close friend of Jesus and the brother of Mary and Martha, who lived in Bethany. When Lazarus fell ill, his sister sent word to Jesus. "Lord, the one you love is sick." Jesus, who was some distance away, did not immediately rush to Bethany. He waited 2 days. By the time he arrived, Lazarus had been dead for 4 days. Martha went to meet Jesus and said, "Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. But I know that even now God will give you whatever you ask." Jesus said, "I am the resurrection and the life. The one who believes in me will live even though they die, and whoever lives by believing in me will never die. Do you believe this?" Martha said, "Yes, Lord. I believe that you are the Messiah, the Son of God." When Jesus came to the tomb, a cave with a stone across the entrance, John records the most moving verse in the Gospel: Jesus wept. He shared in human grief even knowing what he was about to do. Jesus commanded, "Take away the stone." Then he called in a loud voice, "Lazarus, come out." The dead man came out, his hands and feet still wrapped in burial cloth. Jesus said, "Loose him and let him go." Let us review. A miracle is an extraordinary event caused by the power of God with purpose to reveal Jesus, demonstrate the kingdom, meet human need, and call to faith. 4 categories: healing, nature, exorcism, resurrection. 10 lepers, Luke 17. Jesus healed all 10, only one, a Samaritan, returned to give thanks. Gratitude and faith matter beyond physical healing. Calming the storm, Mark 4. Jesus commands wind and waves. Who is this? He has authority over all creation. Lazarus, John 11. Jesus raised the dead after 4 days. I am the resurrection and the life. Death is not the end for those who believe. For homework, read John chapter 11 in full. Write a paragraph. What does the raising of Lazarus tell us about Jesus, and about what Christians believe happens after death?